Okay, so this is where, what? This is where we were on Friday? Okay, Nikki, would you light, please? Okay, we're talking about the price ceiling on the hotel rooms. So if we impose this price ceiling at $90, what do we end up with? A shortage is not enough. A shortage of 30 hotel rooms. Actually prove that you're able to read the graph accurately. Okay? All right. So is that floor binding?
Oh, wait, no.
That was a ceiling.
Yeah, it was a ceiling. It's like,
Oh, this one. This one's.
oh, it's the floor binding.
What are you talking about?
It's not mine.
Is this one binding?
No.
Why not? Because a floor establishes a minimum price, and this floor is placed below the equilibrium price, so the minimum at this time will not be reached. And so you would have no impact on the market. Don't say surplus, don't say shortage. It's a non-binding price control, no impact on the market. If you are presented with a problem like this, your answer is it's a non-binding price control and there is no impact on the market. I have given you the formula for a correct answer, and 3/4 of you aren't writing it down. Pick up your pen. This is a non-binding price control, and for price control you would insert either price floor or price ceiling, okay? And as a result has no impact on the market. Those of you who are seniors are going to have to get better at picking up on those clues, because professors will not repeat and will not insist that you write it down, and you will miss it.
I had it stored in the back.
You had it stored in the back of your head, which would last about 6 seconds. And when you take the quiz on Thursday, would be.
Wait, I stored it right there.
Bob Dylan once sang a song about that.
What's it called?
Dust in the Wind.
Okay,
so now in this situation, what do we have? We have a binding price floor, which will result in a surplus of 60 rooms. Good. So this price control results in a binding price floor which creates a surplus of 60 rooms. Guys, this stuff is actually this simple. There's no trick to it. There's no, yeah, but there's a catch. It is what it is. It is this concrete. It is this basic, this simple. Okay? Did you all notice what is approaching on Monday? Yes. The Unit 2 test. Now, the Unit 2 test does not preclude questions over Unit 1. The majority of the information will be drawn from Unit 2, but I still have to go back and check some of the stuff from Unit 1, or you'll quit thinking about it, which will result in you missing stuff over Unit 2 that's based upon things from Unit 1. You can never forget anything you've learned. It's like you can't calculus if you've forgotten how to add.
You just can't calculus in general.
Well, that's a personal learning problem. All right. So, if markets are a good way to organize how we exchange goods and services, then what do price controls do to that? They mess with it. Okay? Prices tell suppliers how much to produce and what to produce. They tell buyers how competitive they need to be in the market purchasing goods. And so when price controls are put in place, they interfere with that establishment of the natural equilibrium. In general, who are price controls aimed at? Price controls are intended to assist whom? What? Which consumers? Low-income consumers. By artificially increasing the wage, by artificially decreasing prices, right? Rent control doesn't help Donald Trump. Minimum wage doesn't help Donald Trump. Both of them help homeless guy outside Krispy Kreme that Michael gave a donut to, okay? In the end, because of the way that price controls work, by creating shortages, right? And surpluses of demand, we end up actually hurting the poor. All right, on to the other half of government interference in the market. Taxes are levied on goods, services, on property, on luxuries, on inheritance, on income. Okay? They're used to pay for innumerable government services at all levels of government, from the national down to the local. Okay? The government can ask buyers to pay the tax or sellers to pay the tax, but what do we know happens either way? Who pays the tax? The consumers do. Because even if a supplier is sending the money into the government, how are they getting that money to send to the government? They're including it in the price to the consumer. When you go to Target and buy pajamas, okay, what do they add onto that receipt right at the end? You buy a pair of $19.99 pajamas, did they cost you $19.99? No, they add sales tax. And you pay it, but they send it to the government. Okay? All right. Yes, sir?
So like in places like Florida where they don't have sales tax because they have so much.
Okay, so if a state like Florida, Michael asked, so Florida doesn't have sales tax because they have so much tourism. Does Florida have less things that it needs to do as a state government and less things it needs to do as a city government?
Or like is sales tax required by law?
Sales tax is not required by law. Sales tax is not a federal thing. It's a state, a local, a municipal thing. So if there was a city in Florida that did not have tourism, they could choose to levy sales tax because they have to have the money to provide those services somehow. So in Florida, where are they getting the money from those services? Instead of sales tax. They get it from taxes on specific services. They tax rental cars. They tax rapid. They tax services like tour companies and shuttle buses. They're just collecting the revenue they need. They're just doing it in different places and not taking it out of the people who live there full time. They're targeting the tourist as a percentage of the price, or you can tax for each unit sold. Which one is more common? Shell, are you on your phone? Okay. Just checking. Which one's more common? The percentage. Yes. Very rarely do we see a specific tax per unit sold. Okay. But to make our lives easier, that's what we're going to analyze. The outcome is essentially the same. This is just easier math. Okay? How can you be upset about that, right? Okay, so pizza. There's no tax on pizza. So equilibrium price at no tax is $10. We're going to sell 500 pizzas tax-free. Now we're going to tax each pizza sold at $1.50 a unit. $1.50 a pizza. So now that $10 pizza is going to cost $11.50. Very good math. Okay. So where does price end up on this graph? Higher. So how do we get there? We don't just shift along the demand curve, do we? Well, the answer at this point is it depends. If we assume the price is going to have to stay at $10 to maintain this quantity, can we do that? Is there some way to do that? Well, if we lower the price by $1.50, are we lowering it along the supply curve or along the demand curve? You can't do both. So to lower the price to $8.50, which is what we'd have to do, right? We'd have to increase supply, correct? Would that result in a quantity of 500? It would be more. Okay. Well, let's decrease demand to the point where equilibrium is $8.50. Then what happens to quantity? So is there any way with this tax for us to maintain price at $10 and quantity at 500? The answer is no. A tax will always alter market equilibrium. That's what that looks like. This right here, this gap between the 10 and the 850 is tax. So the demand curve ends up getting shifted down by the amount of the tax. Are you with me so far? Equilibrium quantity, but we have altered equilibrium price. end up with now? We brought supply back, okay? So at the new equilibrium price of $8.50, we have a new equilibrium quantity of Wait, what? Where is it 850? This equilibrium point is 950. Where do we have 850? Where did we just have it in this graph? Got it? If we take the $1.50 off, we have 850 here, right? But we are still going to have, Miranda, our new equilibrium where the supply curve is, which is going to be 950. Okay? Work with me. Seller's going to get $9.50 a pizza. The buyer's going to pay $11 a pizza. Taxes! Yes, taxes! This is how you do it.
So the tax of $1.50 per pizza costs consumers how much more?
Because pizza used to be $10. But because of the increase in price, demand shifts. Because of the we dropped demand down to maintain the quantity. So consumers are paying $1 more per pizza and suppliers are selling 50 fewer pizzas. It gets worse.
This is like already bad.
It is already bad. I can tell you guys are no longer giving me
Right now, resting face, I'm getting resting face.
the 850, guys, the 850 is still right there. Because the 850 tells you how much demand shifts. You have to maintain the same quantity and that tells you how much demand shifts. That $1.50 told us demand goes down to this point. That's right. The only reason we deducted the tax from the original equilibrium was to figure out where the new demand curve is. Then we're not worried about that. We have the new demand curve, we have the new equilibrium, and then when we add the tax, so this is the price for seller, and the price for buyer. Okay.
I guess I've been saying out loud that backwards. So I apologize.
Drop.
A tax is always going to not change the price. And so when we go about price, what demand. So what is the answer? Tax will always
All right. So, have we erased most of the, what? Okay. All right. So now we have to look at vocabulary here, tax incidence. Tax incidence means who's actually paying the tax, how is it affecting the market. So our tax incidence here buyers are paying $1 of the tax and sellers Uncle Sam, please. What? Okay. So what if the tax had to be paid by the sellers? So that would raise their cost to $11.50 per pizza. Can you see where this is going? So we have to figure out, here's where we've added on our tax from equilibrium. Okay, this is how we started going the other way last time, right? So we're going to see what happened through this point. Supply is going to decrease. So the tax on sellers decreases supply by the amount of the tax from equilibrium. We're going to have a new equilibrium point at, they're going to say $11, I bet. So the seller's going to get $9.50. The buyer's going to pay $11. The difference is the $1.50 in tax. It does not matter whether you tax the buyer or the seller, does it? The pizza's still costing you now $11, right? All of that was to prove this point. It's the same either way. The effect on price and quantity is the same, whether the government says the tax is on buyers or the tax is on sellers, which is where I started with all of this, right? As I said, the seller is always going to pass the tax on to the consumer. If they're willing, they're not going to matters. A tax separates buyers and sellers from their original equilibrium. Now, when we look at tax incidence, although we know the $1.50 is coming out of the buyer's pocket, tax incidence is calculated from the original equilibrium. So then we say, who's suffering the tax? The buyer has $1 worth of the tax and the seller has 50 cents worth. Okay? So although we know all of the money, all of that actual $1.50 is being paid by the consumer, the seller is actually suffering from the original equilibrium, 50 cents per unit of it. And the buyer is suffering $1 per unit. Are you with me? Yeah. Okay. Shall we apply it? No. Oh, yes.
Sorry, we don't have enough time. We only have 7.
Hey, let's go to Florida and rent a hotel room. Okay? A tax of $30 a room. So what do we do?
Our equilibrium here is $100 a room. The tax is going to be $30 a room. So what do? We come down to 70. Right? And we make a new curve. Yep. So our new equilibrium is going to be 80, right? Which means that our new
Quantity is going to be
80, but our actual selling price will be.
Do you see how actually simple that was? And see why it's necessary to do this $30 thing? Boom. Boom. In theory. It actually is that simple. Now here's the interesting thing. Look at the tax incidence.
Not really. That's just the way it is.
It is the way it is. Read the graph. In this instance, sellers end up paying more of the tax than the buyers do. But who's hurt more? The sellers. Because they used to rent 100 hotel rooms, now they're renting 80, and at the price they receive, right? 8 times 8 is what? So now they're getting $640 a room into their pockets, where they used to get $1,000. Sellers used to pay $1,000. Or buyers used to pay $1,000, but now they're paying, ooh, that's tough, 11 times 8. 880. But where does the real difficulty come from? What if the buyers still want 100 hotel rooms?
They have too many family members. 20
We're 20 hotel rooms short at the price of 110. Did you say who cares?
I want to take my kids to see Mickey Mouse.
surplus. What?
So there's empty hotels.
I'm just trying to get you to read the graph and think.
Yet they always tell you that they're sold out.
Okay. How does tax incidence affect elasticity?
Can we not do this today?
We have to start this today.
No, we don't. We only have to because you want to. Just do your grad school stuff.
We have to start this today.
Do your grad school.
Can we just say it doesn't affect it at all?
Okay.
I can't. My brain is fried.
Well, at least that means
You're gonna get an RBS.
All right. So tax incidence is the same whether buyers have to pay the tax or sellers have to pay the tax. The tax is going to still be the same. So what does affect tax incidence? Elasticity does. So if supply is more elastic than demand, which it is in this instance, okay, supply is more elastic than demand. So here we have relatively inelastic demand. And we have fairly elastic supply. And a price where there is no tax. Now we're going to add tax. Okay. Where's the price for sellers? Somebody come point. Where's the price that sellers are going to pay? Somebody come point. Dylan? Everybody should be making their prediction. Boom. Where tax intersects the supply curve is where the price of sellers. Where's the price for buyers? Somebody come show me price for buyers. Thank you, sir. Dylan? Everybody else is sprouting chicken feathers right now. Yeah. All right. So now I ask you, who has the higher tax incidence? How do you know buyers have the higher tax incidence? The distance from the dashed line to the price they're going to pay for buyers is much bigger than it is for sellers. Now, was that so hard? Oh, it was not.
Oh, it was too.
That was not hard.
You sound like my. That was not hard.
Look at that. That was not hard.
That's probably the easy stuff.
That was not the easier
Let's go
stuff.
back to what we did on the last slide.
Oh, wait. Stop packing. This is what's important. This is the why. Because the supply is more elastic than the demand, that's why buyers end up with more tax incidence. Because these buyers don't have as much choice about being in this market. Right? Inelastic, they pretty much have to have what they're buying. So the sellers could leave the market. Thus, they're going to bear less of the tax burden than the buyers.
My brain is like,
In the short term, supply will be relatively inelastic when it's something that has to be grown. No, there are other cases. Things that have